if-else expression blocks. This doesn't quite roll off the tongue as easily as if-else statements, and this distinction is an important one. Java has if-else statements, and that's why we are so used to calling if-else constructs statements. However, Scala has if-else expression blocks because in Scala, the if-else language construct can be used to return values. This distinction is an important one. This bears repeating. Java, C Sharp, C and C++ have if-else statements. Scala has if-else expressions. If you're wondering whether any other important programming language has if-else expressions, well, the answer is there is one, and that is Microsoft Excel. You might laugh, but most powerful spreadsheet packages are actually fully fledged functional programming languages in their own right. And to that extent, it is no coincidence that Scala and Excel share this similarity. Both of them are big on functional programming. In any case, coming back to if-else expression blocks in Scala. If you think about how the if-else construct works, in Scala, an entire if-else construct is a giant expression block. It starts with a Boolean expression which has a return value of either true or false. Depending on the value of this Boolean expression, either expression 1 or expression 2 is going to be evaluated. If the Boolean expression returns true, then it's going to be expression 1 whose return value is the return value of the entire if-else. If the Boolean returns false, then we go into the second expression block. This is an important idea. It is important to realize that if-else constructs in Scala are chainable because they are expression blocks. And there are two expression blocks possible, expression block 1 and 2, depending on the value of the conditional expression. That is an expression also, by the way. This is very meta. We will end up picking up the return values of one of these two expressions. Now, obviously, as in most other languages, the else portion of this construct is optional. You could have merely an if Boolean expression followed by an expression block. And this leads to an interesting possibility. If you have an if expression without an else clause, if the Boolean expression evaluates to false, the return value of the entire construct will be nothing. It will be the special value nothing. This is important for one to realize because there are a whole bunch of situations in Scala where you might end up with a value of nothing and you might be scratching your head wondering why. Let's check out an example. Here, the last statement, the highlighted statement, has an if followed by a condition. The condition tests whether denom, the variable or rather the value denom is 0. If it's not 0, the return value is the fraction, numerator divided by denominator, else the return value is none. None, of course, is a special value in Scala. The Scala compiler is smart enough to realize that our if else expression might return either none or a double, and that's why the combined return value is treated as any. This here is type inference at work. Let's say we've altered our else clause such that its return value is 0, that's a double. Now both the if and the else expressions return doubles, and so the Scala compiler is smart enough to change the return value of the entire expression to double. Scala type inference is obviously pretty smart and pretty cool. But the broader point here is that the entire if-else construct here was a big expression block. It fit neatly into our pattern, if followed by a Boolean expression followed by either expression 1 or 2. Why does this matter? Why do we care whether an if-else is an expression or a statement? Well, this is actually really important. This ability, this facility that Scala provides to change common language constructs from statements to expressions, this is a huge part of the functional language capability in Scala. Because we are able to chain if-else statements, we don't need to break a functional chain of composition. This allows us to very cleverly write chained function codes. This is facilitated by Scala, which has transformed if-else constructs into R values. Remember, an R value is something that can be on the right of an assignment, and by definition, an R value can be functionally composed, it can be chained.